certain events that have occurred in the, should we say, in the YouTube atheist community, things that would be considered big news or drama, to use that word. Following that, they posted videos basically saying things like, I'm not a part of any YouTube atheist community. But the next day, they then post videos responding to other atheists politely about, critiquing them or critiquing theists or creationists. Do you think that a person actually has the right to say whether they're in the community or not, or do you think that's just decided for them based on their actions?
Yeah, I mean, this is why this whole topic is really good, because a lot of people seem to reject the idea of a community or the idea that there even is one that exists. I mean, I guess I don't think that you can really just kind of say, oh, I'm not part of that community and still interact with it. I think you kind of are, whether you like it or not, just like, my hometown. I'm part of the community, whether I like it or not. So, yeah, a lot of people kind of don't like the idea of the community because of what Triumph said with, the idea of hierarchy, the idea of leaders, but that kind of does exist. If you subscribe to someone that is really popular, you're kind of, enforcing that hierarchy. You're kind of making it more substantial, bigger. I really don't think you can just say, oh, I'm not part of that. I think we're part of it whether we like it or not, or whether we like the people in it or not.
Yeah. Speaking of this notion of hierarchy, James, what do you reckon about the way that hierarchy is established in this YouTube atheist community? Do you think that it works to the benefit of the community as a whole? Actually, this is kind of a double-barrel question, because if there is a community, what is the cause? And do you think that the way that the community is structured now actually helps the cause, or do you think that we could be doing something different which would make it more effective?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a tough question. Clearly there's a hierarchy. Obviously, there's that much. Is there a benefit to that? Maybe there might be in some respects, but I know that there are also there are some drawbacks to it, and I'm thinking specifically, there are a lot of great channels that I think I come to late, and there are a lot of great channels that don't get the kind of attention that I really think that they deserve. Can you remind me what the question is? Because this is
yeah, I mean, sort of, if the community has a cause, like let's say we go back to the cause I don't know that we had really established one very thoroughly, but the cause, the notion of a cause we were discussing earlier. Do you think that the way the community is structured, where you have, a certain contingent of larger channels, quite a lot of smaller channels, it's kind of like a pyramid hierarchy of, the number of subscribers. Do you think that actually helps the cause, or do you think that the cause would be helped if everyone had a lot more subscribers, or if everyone had a lot less, like if it was more even, communist or a pyramid hierarchy?
Well, I really don't think that I don't know. I mean, I don't think that I really deserve as many subscribers as I have. I think that there are a lot better YouTubers out there than me that make videos that I like to watch that should have more. I think that if having YouTube atheist superstars, and I'm doing scare quotes, accomplishes anything, it's that on this forum, when debates come to blows, it's really kind of subscriber numbers that carry the most clout, and it's kind of sad that a lot of times discussions are settled that way. But yeah, I don't know. It is a cause. I don't know. I think it's maybe just proximity of subject matter as much as anything that makes this community what it is, such that it is. I really don't know how to address the question of hierarchy. I'm actually really confused just by the whole phenomenon of it.
Well, one of the things that I've been thinking about doing is something I proposed to to Thunderfoot, to a few other people who I know that have really large subscriber bases, is to find a way to actually make it more even. Because, like you say, there's a lot of channels out there that don't get the numbers that they should be getting. As I said earlier, a chap I know, Deus Paladin, one of my favorite users. He probably does, well, in my opinion, he certainly does the best debunks of the Bible, probably on par with Non-Stamp Collector in that respect, in terms of how they make you think about the Bible. It just flatly refutes the theology of biblical scripture, and it's really, really well done. And the guy is not an atheist; he's a deist, but he doesn't get nearly enough views. And I think if he did, some of the more low-brow arguments which you see permeating the community wouldn't be made, because more of his highbrow arguments would find their way in. Like we need more of the sophistication that he brings, I think, to actually get the overall, so I say the overall sophistication of arguments that the YouTube atheist community makes, because no one can deny that, as I was saying earlier with the broad brush approach, there are some atheists on YouTube whose approach is not to make the most sophisticated arguments, but to make perhaps the most aggressive arguments. And while that may work in some respects, I think that the cause of the community, ultimately, which would just be making the community bigger, and that's the only cause I can think of, is to bring more people in, because then those people, if they become atheists, that's basically like spreading atheism, without preaching, so to speak, but spreading it by getting people interested in the discussion, and then watching as their religious views naturally atrophy away, and they end up adopting a non-theistic or deistic position. And so I think with regard to that cause, we need to kind of raise the level of sophistication that the average YouTube atheist would use in almost all aspects, in science and philosophy and all of those things. Now, I'm a terrible philosopher. I'm what William Lane Craig et al. Would call a philosophical Neanderthal, and I completely accept that term, actually, even though I don't think you need to be particularly good at philosophy to see where Craig is going wrong. I accept that term, that my philosophical arguments are not sophisticated at all. So I follow a lot of people who do use philosophical arguments on YouTube to learn from them. And likewise, some of those people follow me back to learn about arguments in the field of cosmology and astrophysics. That's really the only thing I can talk about. And those channels that I follow often do not have nearly the same subscriber base that my channel has. So while people are getting a lot of cosmology and astrophysics, they're not getting a lot of that kind of level of philosophy that I'm getting from these guys. One of the ideas that I had, just brought a really roundabout way to get back to this point, was to be able to spread the subscriber base out by basically getting everyone on over the length of, say, 4 weeks, let's say during 1 month at the beginning of 2011 or something. Everyone every Wednesday posts a mirror of a video by someone with less subscribers than them that they think is undersubscribed. And it just becomes like a shout out Wednesday. So everyone, you don't tell anyone who you're going to post in advance, but all of these old videos will pop up again. And the hope is that it will trickle down from the top to the bottom in terms of subscriber numbers, not in terms of quality by any means, but subscriber numbers, to actually get everyone watching more videos by different people. What do you think would be the benefit of something like that? Do you think it would actually work, or do you think it's not worth trying something like that? Or do you think that doing that will work against the cause? James, sorry.
Personally, no. I think that is a really good idea. In my experience with shouting out and being shouted out, the sort of average retention is something like 10% of a particular person's subscriber base ends up transferring over. So it would certainly, in cases such as yourself or Thunderfoot or Don Exodus or whoever it happens to be, it would certainly spread around a lot of subscribers.
Would you be happy to take